Hi, my name's Lorraine Hamilton from Coach School. Now, I have been coaching since 2006, so I am quite well into my coaching career. But I thought it would be fun if I shared how I landed my first paying client because that can be a real challenge for new coaches to get off the block. So I'll share how I did it, and then I'll tell you how we do it in Coach School. So I was just out of my first certification and I was working through my hours. So there were a minimum amount of coaching hours that I needed to complete in order to graduate from my coaching school. And so I had to find clients to work with, and I had never done that before. So the way that I did it was I decided that I was going to do all pro bono just for to get my hours up and to get my certification. And at the time, I had two very young children. When I started coaching, both my kids were under two, and I was juggling things around taking them to kindergarten. So that was the first place that I went. I went to my kindergarten and I said, "Hey, can I put this flyer up? I'm looking for people who would like to experience life coaching for free so that I can get my certification." And they graciously said yes. And actually, the first two or three clients that I got were either mums from the kindergarten or actually staff that worked in the kindergarten. And another story, but I ended up doing some work for the kindergarten, some training work for them. So look around and see who is connected to people that you might be able to work with. Another thing that I did was I reached out to my friends and I said, "I'm doing this certification. I need some people to practice on. Do you know anybody who might be interested in getting some free life coaching?" And although my friends weren't at a point where they wanted free life coaching, they introduced me to their friends, and that's what filled up the rest of the spots. So it was great. I had enough clients that I could do all of my hours and get my certification. Now, I did say that what I was going to do was share how I got my first paying client. So you would be right if you're thinking, but hang on a minute, this is all about pro bono sessions. Well, my first paying client actually came from was one of my friends who had introduced me to a number of her friends. So at the time I had made the offer, it wasn't right for her. She wasn't quite sure. But then when she saw the results of the coaching in her friends, she realized that it was something that she definitely wanted to be part of. So she was my first paying client. And that was quite tricky, right? Because she had brought me all of these other clients, and now she was saying, "Hey, I want to try life coaching with you." And I said, "Well, I've done all of my free hours, and now I'm going to have to charge you." So it was quite an interesting dynamic. But that's how I got my first paying client. And from there, word of mouth just grew and grew using all of the tools that we know work, testimonials, social proof, just talking to people. People were curious and then they started working with me and then they would recommend me, and that is how it grew. And it's how I continue to attract clients today, just on a global scale rather than a very local one, which is what I was doing at the beginning. One thing that we do differently in Coach School is that I encourage my students to earn while they're learning, and it's for a couple of reasons. Firstly, they're learning really powerful skills, and as there's many untrained coaches in the market charging for what they're doing, and they don't have any training or any fallback. So my students who are being supervised by me and my other mentors, and they're really well equipped to help their clients. So I think that they're in a very strong position to be able to charge for their services quite early on in their training. And I work individually with them so that they know when they're ready to do that. Secondly, though, it takes quite a mindset shift to move from not charging to charging. I know that I found that quite challenging, and I would far rather that they went through that challenge with my help. So if you're interested in becoming a coach and earning while you learn, or would like to work on your own mindset and moving into charging for your coaching skills, then follow the links below this video and I would love to talk to you more. I've been Lorraine Hamilton from Coach School.